In this presentation, we will be dealing with matrix operations. So this part deals with matrix addition. To add two matrices, we have to add corresponding element of both the matrices and store the result in the third matrix. For example, if this matrix is, let us say, matrix A, this is matrix B, and this is matrix C, which is sum of the two matrices. Then this element, which is A11, and this element, which is B11, will be added and stored as value of C11. So if we try to generalize the equation, we get this equation: Cij is equal to Aij plus Bij. If we can vary values of I for all the row numbers and value of j for all the column numbers, then all the elements will be calculated and stored in matrix C. This is how we calculate addition of matrices. These are the steps involved in addition of matrices. The first step is reading actual size of matrix. You should remember that we have to declare a matrix when we are dealing with arrays or subscripted variables. So we have to declare size, which is the maximum size. The actual size of matrix can be smaller than or equal to the declared size. So here we read actual size. Then we'll have to read the first matrix. Let's say we'll read row wise. Then we'll read the second matrix, again row wise, and then using the values in matrices A and B, we'll calculate matrix C, which is addition of matrices A and B. Next step will be displaying matrix C, and then we'll stop. So this is the flow chart which shows these steps involved. Previously we have seen the first step was reading the actual size of the matrix. So this is the first step, reading actual size of matrix. The second step is reading matrix A. So this part covers the second step, that is reading matrix A. Here you can see that there are two do loops. Value of I, which represents row number, varies from 1 to n. Value of j, which represents column number, varies from 1 to n. And here we are reading value of Aij. So I varies from 1 to n, j varies from 1 to n, and here the step is read Aij. So all the elements of matrix will be accepted from the user row wise. So third step, actually, the third step is reading matrix B. So this part deals with reading matrix B. This part is very similar to the previous part. We are just reading matrix of same size. The name of matrix is matrix B. So first step was reading the actual size of matrices. Second step was reading matrix A. Third step is reading matrix B. Next step, that is step number 4, is calculating matrix C. So matrix C is calculated by using this step. So here again there are two do loops. The I or row subscript varies from 1 to n, column subscript varies from 1 to n, and the general equation we have seen earlier. The Cij is equal to Aij plus Bij. So using this equation and repeating the process for all the elements, we get corresponding elements of matrix C. After we have calculated matrix C, we can display matrix C using this part. Again there are two do loops, and then there is an output statement inside the do loops. So this way we get the addition of two matrices. This page shows the actual program. Here you can see that there is a dimension statement which declares all the matrices used in this program. So let us consider that we want to calculate matrix C using matrices A and B. C is summation of A and B. In that case, there will be three matrices. Let us assume that the maximum size is 10 by 10 for A, likewise it will be 10 by 10 for B, and 10 by 10 for C. This is the actual size. So here we will read actual size, that is m and n, m by n. So here we will read value of m, value of n. Using values of m and n, we can read the first matrix, that is matrix A, of size m by n. So this is the implied do loop or implied do statement used for reading matrix A, that is the first matrix. So the prompt says enter first matrix row wise, and then we'll read matrix A row wise using implied do statement. Likewise, this prompt says enter second matrix row wise, and then we'll read matrix B using implied do statement, which is very similar to previous case. After this, we can calculate matrix C, where Cij is equal to Aij plus Bij. The statement is included in two rules. You should remember, when we are working row wise, then the outer loop should represent row number or row subscript, and the the index variable of inner loop should represent column number. After calculating matrix C, we can display matrix C here using this statement. We know that to display a two-dimensional matrix, we have to use combination of do statement and implied do statement. We have seen this part earlier. So using those steps, we have displayed the matrix, and then we will stop working. So this is how we calculate addition of two matrices. The next slide will show a demonstration of using this program, or how this program works. Let us learn how to perform matrix addition. So this program calculates matrix C, which is summation of matrices A and B. The first statement is a dimension statement, which declares three matrices of size 10 by 10. This is the maximum possible size. This step reads the actual size, which is m by n. This size can be either equal to or greater than 10 by 10, which is the declared size or maximum size. This step reads matrix A row wise. This step reads matrix B again row wise. After this, here we calculate matrix C using a combination of these two do loops and this statement Cij is equal to Aij plus Bij. So this statement is basically repeated for all the elements of matrix A and B, and then corresponding values of C corresponding elements of C are calculated. After this, we display matrix C, which is summation of matrices A and B, using a combination of do statement and implied do statement. So let us execute the program to see how this program works. So let us enter size of matrix. Let us say matrix is of size 3 by 3. First row, second row, third row. Now into second matrix, first row, second row, and third row. Now just check whether the program is correct or not. So 1 plus 9 plus 10, then 3 plus 1 is 4, 5 plus 3 is 8. So this is how you can see that all the elements have been calculated correctly. Last element is 7 plus 4, 11. So this program calculates addition of two given matrices. This program demonstrates how to perform matrix addition using subprograms. So this is basically a demonstration of how to use subprograms in matrix operation. If you remember the steps, the first step was reading size of the matrix. Next step was reading first matrix row wise, then reading second matrix row wise, then performing addition of matrices, and then displaying the resultant matrix. So these were the steps. If you look at the main program, you can see that we have called different subroutines for performing these tasks. Here we are reading value of m using the simple read statement. But the next statement, which is reading first matrix, this has been performed using a subroutine called read 2D. So this subroutine is passed A and the size of matrix, that is name of the matrix and size of the matrix. Next step is reading matrix B or reading second matrix. Here again you have called read 2D and you have passed matrix B and size of matrix B. So using these two steps, we will read matrices A and B. After this, we will call subroutine addMat for performing addition of the given matrices. The first matrix that is passed is matrix A, second matrix is matrix B, So addition of these two matrices will be stored in matrix C, and this is the size of the matrices. So the resultant matrix will be of size n by n, and that matrix is displayed using this subroutine WRT2D, which displays given matrix. So here the matrix passed as C, and this is the size of matrix. If you look at the rest of the part, which uses the subroutine, or which has the subroutines, here you can see that there is subroutine read2D. This is for reading matrix. You should remember this subroutine has been called twice, but this has been written only once. You have to remember that you have to write subroutine only once, irrespective of number of times it has been or it is called. Next subroutine is subroutine WRT2D. This is for displaying a matrix. Then there is subroutine for addition of matrices. This performs addition of matrices. Here matrices, matrix A and B is added in the matrix C, and matrix is written. A, B, C is written. A, B, C are these are the dummy arguments. So let us execute the program. Let us say size of matrix is 3 by 4. First matrix. And second matrix. This is the addition. You can check the elements whether the calculation has been performed properly. So 1 plus 8 is 9, then 2 plus 6, 8, 3 plus 5, 8, and 4 plus 6, 10. So first row has been calculated properly. You can check the last element, 8 plus 2, 10. Okay. So this is how the matrix addition is performed using subroutines. Aim of this demo is to demonstrate importance of using subprograms for performing complex operations. We have seen that the usage of subroutines or subprograms makes the program logic easier to understand. That is what we have learned. But if you look at the program, this program does not use any subroutine. The length of the program is 21 lines. If you look at the program which uses subroutines, you can see that the program is about 38 lines in length. Even if you ignore these gaps, the length will be around 36 lines. So that means this program is bigger, or appears to be bigger. And we know that generally a program which appears to be bigger is more complex or difficult to understand for humans. But still we say that usage of subroutine makes programming easier, or makes a program easy to understand, easy to debug, easy to develop, and so on. So why these are the arguments in favor of, or given in favor of subprograms, that is what we will see. So let us go back to, or come back to this program which uses a main program and there are no subprograms. So this program has been written for writing or calculating C, where C is A plus B. Now this program we have seen already, it works properly. But let's say I want to modify this program for calculating, let's say x, which is equal to sum of, or which is sum of y and z. So if I want to calculate x, which is sum of y and z, then in that case I'll have to change or replace all the names in the program. So a will be replaced with x is y plus z, so this becomes y, this becomes z, and this is x. Okay. So this statement needs to be changed. So here we have to read matrix y, here we have to read matrix z, then we have to calculate matrix x using y and z. Okay. Here the matrix that will be displayed will be x. Now this is the resultant program. So we have performed many corrections, or basically we have replaced names of matrices everywhere. The names appear. Now if same operation is to be done using subprograms, let us find out what is the change. So we will go or come back to this program. So x equal to y plus z. Okay. Now you should remember we have to change dimension statement because names of subscript variables have changed. Sorry, this would be y, this would be z, this would be matter x. So we have to read size, then we have to read first matrix, that is matrix y. So instead of a, we have to change this to y. Then second matrix is matrix z, so we have to change this to z. Here we will be sending the value of x, y to calculate. Sorry, we will be sending y and z to calculate y, z to calculate x, and then we will be displaying matrix x. These are the changes required. But we don't have to change anything here because we know that the subroutines have arguments which are dummy arguments. So name of arguments is not important, and these will work without any changes. So only the main program needs to be changed, and not all statements are required to be changed. Only the call statements and the name of the variables are changed here. So I have to change that name. But the subroutines were not required to be changed. So actually program logic is not required to be touched. Only the call statements change. So this makes the modifications simpler. Let us find out if you want to perform some complex operation. So let us say x is equal to y plus z plus q. In this case, I will have to simply read matrix q using another call to read 2D, and then I will have to use addmat for performing addition. First, I will add y and z. I will store the result in some temporary variable, let's say d. Then I will add d and q, and I will store that result in variable x. So that way it becomes very easy to calculate. For example, I can simply copy this part and paste it here. The third matrix is matrix Q. After this, I will call addmat. So y and z will be added, and let's say result will be stored in matrix T. So I'll have to declare a additional matrix D here, 10, 10. Then we come back to this. After this, I will again call addmat. I will send matrix D and Q to calculate x, and size of matrix is m and n. After this, I can use fed to read to display the matrix. So only a very simple change is required to be performed if we are using subroutine subprogram. But if same operation is required to be performed using using a simple program which uses only main program, then we will have to see that a lot of changes are required to be performed. Let us say I want to perform this operation here. Then in that case, like in the previous case, I will have to add a matrix D here of size 10, 10. I'll have to add a statement to read matrix. Here I'll read matrix Q. After this, I have to calculate D using this. D will be calculated using Y and Z, and then I'll have to copy this program, paste it here, then I'll change the statement numbers, so 200. Here I'll be using D and Q to calculate X, and then I have to display this part, which is addition of matrices. You can see that a lot of changes are required to be made to the program, whereas if we use subprograms, then the main program is not required to be touched much, and the subroutine part remains absolutely as it is. It is just not required to be changed. So the logic part is not required to be changed, and therefore the number of errors that are likely to crop up is very less if we use subprograms, because only the main program or basically the call statements are required to be altered slightly, and nothing else is required to be done. The main program logic remains same, and therefore it is preferable to use subprograms for performing complex operations.